people that weren't able to come. Welcome to our Thursday book launch. My name is Malika Albrecht, and I'm the founding editor for Redheaded Stepchild. I'm super excited about tonight to be celebrating with Amy Barone. I do want to hold up the cover, and I love the name, Defying Extinction. We've been having a fabulous chat. I kind of feel guilty that we weren't taping that because it was really nice to be in good company, but probably it's good that we weren't. I'm going to give you a brief bio and then I'm going to turn it right over because I'm hoping we have a lot of people that are excited about listening to Amy, and then also people that are interested in reading for open mic. Amy Barone is the author of We Became Summer, which was published by New York Quarterly Books, which I love. 2018 is when that came out. She wrote Kamikaze Dance, and that came out from Finishing Line Press. And she was a finalist in the 2014 annual New Women's Voices Chapbook competition, which is always a very competitive one, and that's just wonderful. Foothills Publishing released her first chapbook, Views from the Driveway, in 2008. Her poetry has appeared in Local Knowledge, New Verse News, Paterson Literary Review, Sensitive Skin, and Standpoint, among many other magazines and anthologies. She spent 5 years as Italian correspondent in Milan for Women's Wear Daily and Advertising Age. Barone has worked as communications director at a nonprofit, government, and also in private organizations. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree in business administration from Villanova University and a master's degree from the Thunderbird School of Global Management. Barone is a member of the Poetry Society of America and belongs to brevitas online poetry community that celebrates the short poem. She performs at spoken word events at New York City. Oh, somebody watch their mute. Go ahead and hit a mute. I got it. Thank you. Native of Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. She lives in New York City. We had a wonderful discussion about growing up in Bryn Mawr and her dad who played polo. I am coming your way, Amy. Thank you so much for letting us celebrate with you.
Well, thank you. I'm very grateful to Malika King Albright for inviting me to feature in this very dynamic Redheaded Stepchild series. Thank you to all my friends and poetry lovers who came out. And I look forward to hearing you in the open mic. And of course, I'm reading from Defying Extinction from Broadstone Books. And there should be a link in the chat room if you want to make a purchase. So I'm going to, I have a part-time office job I share with some other artists, and one of them is a novelist, and he wrote me a note the other day about his favorite poems, and it was kind of touching, and he pointed out some lines. So I've included some of his favorites in this reading, starting with a short poem called Sanctum. Some places need no name, like the local bird sanctuary, a 2-acre park bequeathed to Haverford by an eccentric neighbor, where an emerald carpet studded with hundreds of trees and blueberry bushes is rolled out for heart-weary visitors like an ethereal shrine. And then from the section The Wild, my book is in 5 sections. This is called Barely. Abruzzo's brown bears, calm creatures who roam the Apennine Mountains and woodlands, summer in meadows up high, and sleep on branch mattresses by day, are at risk of extinction. 50 Marsican bears, activists for ecotourism, remain to search for beloved buckthorn berries, embark on Twilight Passaggiate near the land of my ancestors, in a grand national park on a tourist-ridden peninsula that's in hibernation. And this next poem, I was talking about horses with Malika because we're both horse lovers. She's stuck with it. And this is a sad horse poem, so I'm sorry for that. Ultimate Day Spa. Today they will be coddled and massaged. On hearing the news, friends and family rush to spoil them with pedicures, hair care, and words of comfort. Now sporting lustrous manes, the horses at Masterpiece Equestrian Center who munched on tainted feed earlier in the week will leave with love. No remedy exists to treat their dying muscles, so young owners flock to the stable to administer one last blast of touch and to whisper farewell. Clematis. Reluctant like a clematis, I shy from conflict with a fragile friend. Purple with passion, how do I tell a mentor I can't bear his demands? I relish sunshine on my face, but drift to calming shade. Once I knew how to climb, kept my reach high on the vine. Now I mingle with wild artists, crush the impulse to wilt over rose. I think Nicole Greaves might recognize spots in this poem. It's called The Trees Remain. I found the Black Angus that used to graze on Bryn Mawr Avenue. They're hiding by Sawmill Road since housing took their land, clustered under tall trees that keep our secrets. Pennsylvania skies speak to me when thoughts turn away from you. A slice of light across the horizon, sandwiched between dark clouds, draws me back to an elusive touch. Late afternoon flashes golden light on bare treetops and evergreens, a snapshot of your smile. Shuttered shops and waning community on our main street find me alone with shadows and wind. A fiery sun still sits where we used to indulge in nothing by the duck pond, sheltered by trees that stayed, that take longer than stars and some loves to die. And this is called Island Exiles. The Tremedy Islands enchanted on our one visit. Pine woods, glistening grotto waters, the coves on San Domino, and St. Mary's Church with its rare Byzantine cross. We arrived by hydrofoil from Termoli, a city on the Adriatic, where a street honors my second cousin, Cleofino Ruffini, and the Swedish castle in Old Town houses his tomb. He was a World War II hero gone too soon. Longing to return one day, I set out to honor the magical place and memory, but altered mindscapes intervened. I discovered that in 1334, pirates ransacked the Five Islands. Centuries later, Mussolini rounded up Italy's gay men, created internment camps, kept the citizens confined on the once glorious Tremedy Islands, whose vistas had changed. And the next two poems come from the section Heirlooms. I'm going to start with Piano Echoes. We stream music and view YouTube, outgrew our stereos and CDs. They had tunesmiths at their pianos playing rollicking sounds. Music filled the alleys of New York's West 28th Street. Father of the blues, J.C. Handy and Scott Joplin wrote catchy tunes there in the early 1900s. Ragtime and jazz poured from saloons and halls where in the good old summertime and give my regards to Broadway were born. A universal language took root. Walls to showbiz success fell. America's sheet music trade thrived. When in a good mood, my late father used to sing around the house. He'd belt out, "Hello, my baby," an old song to a young girl who loved rock music, who knew little of Tin Pan Alley's past splendor. This is called Handkerchief. Mementos of a gentler time, crisp cotton handkerchiefs, edged in lace, some stamped with embroidered flowers. perfectly pressed, piled in drawers, and my late mother's home. As a child learning to iron, I choose the square plaid hankies my father carried to work and the white ones he used in church. Handkerchiefs once held cachet. A wave with one across the room signaled attraction. At the Roman games, they heralded the official start. They were bequeathed to loved ones in ancient Egypt. Othello's first gift to Desdemona was a hanky. As early as 77 BC, Catullus weaved them into his poems. In Gone with the Wind, Rhett handed Scarlet one in a dramatic scene. I found a paisley handkerchief in my mother's handbag on the day of her stroke. I left it there, cherished it, never to be handled again, a symbol of etiquette, her ladylike ways, a vanishing age. And this is from the section Love and Family, which I seem to have that section in my books. Paint job. I'm foregoing a vacation to paint my late mother's home. Maybe fresh coats of bright white will brush away the betrayal, trauma, loss that inhabited the rooms in her last years. I'll go with blue in the bedroom, sky blue, to bring some of the heavens back inside a place that once shined with my mother's spirit and smile. Buttery yellow, like the Easter coat I wore as a child, for the empty dining room. It once held a mahogany table that served a young family of 5, but the bulky furniture blocked the tourist light beaming in sunny mornings. Al said he'd even touch up the laundry and closets where her classy clothes once hung, dissolving stains of rage, residues of illness that created family schisms. I'm trusting a palette of pastels for closure and renewal. Getting in tune. Surviving takes practice. It took decades to know you were better off without them, though Italians are supposed to love family. Tunes tingle memory. Less can be best. Break rules. Tear down the walls of exile. Expel the darkness like bees do every spring. Build the queue. Banish the muse. Write for a few. Date music, not musicians. And I'm going to read the title poem now, Defying Extinction. The ribbon will be massive, proof that no lady died in vain. I add a piece of sky blue fabric from bedding my late mother sent me as a housewarming gift. Others brought cherished family linens, baby clothes, and delicate doilies. A writer weaved in a purple silk blouse to create a memorial that will hang along the Brown Building in Lower Manhattan, where 146 garment workers at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory perished in a fire on March 25th, 1911, one of the nation's worst work disasters. We honor mothers, wives, sisters, daughters, and friends, plus 17 men who worked with their hands, mostly immigrants in a new land, escape blocked by locked exits and stairwells. Their sacrifice propelled activism, dignity for workers, remembering. Now I'm going to read the first poem of the book called Survivoress. Cowhows reemerged on Bermuda's Nonsuch Island after a 300-year absence. They thrive amid native flora, wildlife, and limited access to man. Tangier Island in the middle of Chesapeake Bay supplies the world with soft-shell crab, where Woodard defines life, where home and country matter. The piping plover, hailed one day each summer for its resurgence in the Rockaways, New York, lives protected in camouflage nests on the beach. Shadowboxing Arctic hares, clinging jellyfish, bone beds and badlands on Fossil Freeway in South Dakota. Me, I'm the woman with medicine in her voice, a forest bather, mating like a corpse plant, melting into time, floating toward a 12th life, like a trumpeter swan. And again, I want to thank Malika for running this dynamic series. I really enjoy it. And everyone who came out, my friends, poetry lovers, I'm going to end with a short poem called Mars Bound. Though I recoil from lines, I'm standing in one, intent on moving to Mars, surmounting fear of flying to make an 8-month trek on the Virgin Mothership. Throw 35 million miles between us, pass over blue states, red states, too much talk, the fuss that festers when walls go up, awaiting red mountains and lakes, new seasons, resolved to wreck a life unfettered by wires, rules, love, and reason. Thank you.
Holy smokes. Thank you so very much. I mean, I want people to unmute and go ahead and say, we want to clap to that, because that was just powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got a ton
Oh,
of
my
things to
goodness.
read in that
Thank you.
section. Yep.
Wonderful, Amy. Thank you.
Thank
Wonderful.
you.
This
Thank you,
really was
everyone.
great, Amy. So
Thank
nice to
you.
hear them.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't ever change.
So many lines that stood out, you know, and I almost sent you like a fangirl thing saying, would you read Sanctum? And you started with it. I was like, you can send that email. I'm so like shocked. That's
Agreed.
yes.
I rarely read it.
I'm so
Sure.
happy. It's very short. Yes. And it's in couplets, and, you know, it's lovely. It was so powerful to hear them read out loud. And I don't even know where to start. Yeah. So Cindy said, I love the way you read your lovely and powerful poems, Amy. What a treat to hear them. And there's something in the motion of your poems that I don't know that I can exactly describe it, but I'm hoping if I throw it out there, someone else might pick up on it. But there's a momentum that starts rolling so subtly. And then when it finally hits, I'm just kind of like, holy smokes, I just got run over. And I didn't see it fully coming, but there's something, and I think somebody did kind of hit what I'm talking about. And let me see if I can find that. Yes, I love all the colorful details and tangible things that we can actually visualize and feel. Yeah, and there is a lot of musicality, but did other people have that sense of kind of things just building on themselves and kind of gathering some kind of steam to them that has an impact that is really amazing? Really
Thank
amazing.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've heard Amy read several times, and she has a wonderful sense of how to present
Yeah.
written work. You know, it's almost like it's very theatrical in a way, which you know, it just holds your attention
Thanks, Mark.
completely.
Thank you.
And so I think also what is really fabulous is the interweaving of a speaker's personal experiences with historical facts that come together in a really wonderful way. And is that something that you think you were intuitively drawn to, or is that something that's kind of come as you know, gotten more experience as a poet? I just wanted to hear you talk about how you approach that, or how does that happen for you?
Well, a lot of people say I'm a poet of memory and place. So I
Yes.
do write a lot about, memory. And like we were discussing before we started. And after a while, things just weren't, coming to mind, like you can write about this, that. So with my last book, a few reviewers called it autobiographical, and it hit me. It is very autobiographical, but I wanted a different theme for this book. And I was coming across a lot of interesting, articles about nature, like facts from all these different kinds of, could be a free newspaper, could be something I read on the internet. And I would collect them because I didn't want to write another, autobiographical type poetry collection. So I like the nature theme and I like nature, but, I always kind of throw myself in there somewhere. I think now Mark, Cindy Hockman, and I are part of the Brevitas group where we share short poems a few times a month. I hope I didn't miss anyone else out there. And a few people say, they can provide feedback. They don't always, but a few people say, I like it better when you include something personal. Like if I write something too factual, they don't like it, but I just feel that I have to be inspired by new things. And it's not, my life, which, it's not all that.
Yeah, I really beg to differ. I love your nature stuff. I mean, for maybe a month or two ago, you were in outer space somewhere, but now you came back to Earth. And I'm from small town Ohio, like semi-rural Ohio. I miss nature like crazy in New York. And you just bring it on. You have a gift for describing what it looks like, smells like, feels like, is like. And
thanks, Mark. Thanks.
That.
Usually have been to places I write about, which is always amazing.
And that's interesting. I saw Cindy nodding her head to you enjoy that as well. And I have to tell you, Nicole just wrote exactly what I was trying to kind of pick at. Thank you for that, Nicole. It starts soft, then really layers towards the weight of the truth. I wish I had said that.
Okay.
But I think that's really true of her work in this particular book. Yeah, and Karen said, I could feel Amy's fondness for the discovery she was making as she wrote the poems and as she's reading those poems tonight. That's lovely. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And Marjorie said yes. Yeah.
To go to the nature too, just when you read Sanctum, which also I love because Haverford was a place that I went to a lot as a girl and rode bicycles there. And so when that first line, some places need no name. And just that being in that space, like this earth.
Right.
And sometimes we forget, like, it's going to that level of just being part of it. It goes into the fact that we belong here. That we are part of it, that we name everything as human beings. We place a name to it, a value, a name. And then sometimes it's so important to return to that idea in childhood that's very true to us, that, we make up maybe names for it, but it's just a feeling. It's a place, it's an entity. And so when you said that was like the perfect way to begin that poem. And you do place us right at Haverford College. So that gives me, okay, I know where I am, but I know where I am right in that some places need no name. So I love that line and how you tie the juxtaposition of naming the place, but also saying like, it really doesn't need a name.
Right.
Gorgeous.
We and clearly somebody who is really good at reviewing poems, because the way or books, because the way you talk, Nicole, I really think you really captured like an essence, which I love when you're here and we can hear that. That's amazing. And somebody asked where to get it. I had put the direct link to Broadstone Books, and I placed it again in the chat section. Yep. So yeah.
I took the photo, the cover photo.
Thank you. Okay, that's what I was going to ask. So this is you took this. Where is this person walking?
So I had a friend, a crazy friend when I lived in Milan. She was part English. Her father was an Antarctic explorer, and her mother was from the Greek island of Zante. And I forget what she was. She was a scientist too. And so this friend Fiona invited a few friends to the mother's. They had a little home on the island of Zante, Zakynthos. It's in the Ionian Sea. And,
wow.
I knew that I was going to eventually leave Italy. I really didn't want to stay there forever. I wasn't sure, but after 5 years. So I knew I was going to leave. And one day, so how Europeans are, they do things in groups. So she had all these friends there and they said, oh, we're going to go sailing to this deserted island. A monk lives there. There's just a monastery. So I don't know that it has a name, but we stayed, we slept on the beach, and when we woke up the next day, there were these sheep walking by. And, I took a picture of it. So the individual on the cover, he's just a friend of, Fiona's, who lived on the island and was taking pictures of the sheep, which I took a picture of them. And I always liked the photo, but I didn't think we could ever work it into a cover.
It's awesome. Okay, and guys, don't you just want to talk to her for like hours asking for different stories? Because I know I do. She says things that you think, oh yeah, no, we went to the store, but it's always something fabulous and fascinating where you're like,
also don't forget your Italian period, Amy. Like about a year ago, everything was Italy, Tuscany, Rome, Florence, whatever.
Well, I was based in Italy when I went to this island. It was easy to go places when you're in Europe somewhere.
Already there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. No jet lag.
Awesome. So do you have questions about Amy's process or how this book came about, or any wows that you just want to say? There are some lines that really resonated with a lot of us at the same time. Yeah. Oh, that's fabulous. Though I recoil from lines, I'm standing in one. Yeah. And then Cindy said, I'll move to Mars with you, Amy.
Cindy.
Floating towards a 12th life. I think a lot of us had that same, it's so freaking powerful. The woman with medicine in her voice. Yeah, several of us hit that one. You're gonna have so much fun looking back over the
I look forward to it.
at the same time where we were just going, oh my gosh, that's fabulous. All right, well, I don't think I missed any questions, but if I did, please forgive me and yell them out. Okay, Laura does have one. Can you talk about the sections of the book and how you decided to organize them? Very good question, because they're.
Well, let me see. We have sacred places, and of course, it's because I like to write about place. The wild, and then heirlooms. I wrote several poems, connected to my mother, but also other things. Little history in there. Actually, there's a poem about when I get back to Pennsylvania. Nicole might know this, the Head Nut. It's a store that sells, every spice imaginable, but I really like their French roast coffee. But I wrote a poem about them because I'm a little bit like analog. I'm a very analog person. So I'm sad about stores closing. And so I wrote a poem about, how little stores like this or, they're vanishing too. And then the section Love and Family. And the last section is anima protection. Because, we're all always protecting our anima, right? Or trying to. It came together. But, I really started with wanting to, work with like a nature theme, not so much write about me. Is how it came about.
Thank you. That was awesome to ask that question, Laura, because there was a lot of thought gone into that. And the things that are, lost along the way is very much in there. Okay, fabulous. So I'm gonna see if there's any other questions. I have been keeping track of the open mic. I'm gonna read names, and if I've missed somebody, y'all are gonna let me know. I have Mark, Karen, Marjorie, and Regina. And if I missed you, you're gonna say something to me.
Do we just go in that order?
Yeah, and I'll come to that. Thank you, Mark. I'm just making sure I've got everybody. So I've got Carrie now added. Amy? Did you want to read, Amy?
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to leave a little early
Okay.
tonight, so I wasn't.
No
going
worries.
to.
No worries. I want to just double check that I hadn't missed
Thank
anything.
you so much.
Perfect. Yeah, okay, this is important too. Cynthia, do you change pronouns a lot as you compose? Do you try different points of views?
I do try different points of view.
Mhm.
but they often, they often end up being first person. I wanted to change more with this book because I didn't, want to write so much about me and, family trauma and all that. But, I find myself, as an observer a lot, but I don't seem to change pronouns a lot.
Mhm.
Somehow I end up using first person.
I think that you said something that is interesting to me though, because we can stand like right in the eye, or we can back up as kind of the viewer through that. And I think a lot of those poems do have that sense of settling into a space and observing out. Which I'd have to think more about, but I think that's partly because of your sense of situating and seeing through, but having this world, this natural world that you are holding space for and creating work and poetry from.
Right.
If that makes sense. But an interesting question, Cynthia, because I do think that sometimes in an edit, trying different pronouns can alter things. Yeah. People are saying my copy is winging its way to me. I can't wait to read it. Somebody else, will order mine soon. I'll put the link in there. If somebody did want to get an autographed copy, what would be the best way to reach out to you, Amy?
Oh, they can email me. I'd be happy to. You can share my.
What'd you say, Cindy?
She said they and hang out with me.
I'll come over. I've done that before.
Yeah, I was going to say she has 2 Philadelphia readings coming up. So if you're in the Philly area, you know where you can go find her. Yeah, I was going to say.
That's where I
Amy-
got my copy, Amy.
Amy, are you going to bring some to the November gathering? Some books?
Brevitas?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, good.
I'll be there. In person.
I was going to say some people have the lucky connection of getting to see her, so they'll get an autograph.
Right. And you're free to put my email.
That's what I was going to ask. Is that
in the
okay?
chat. That's fine.
Okay.
That's
So I will
fine.
put that in there. I am, my senses, we're going to thank you, Amy, so very much. It was, I really thoroughly enjoyed the way that you, it was beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Awesome, guys. So I will start with you, Mark, and we will go in that order. And I will, if you, for whatever reasons, did not want to have it videotape, just let me know and I'll pause the video. It's no big deal.
Yeah, that's, I want to have my 15 minutes of fame like in the world. So, yeah, I'm going to read. I've written haiku for about 50 years now. Every change of seasonal haiku, and I want to read a few of those, and then I'll close with a single poem, which is kind of quasi-philosophical. Let's start with rising. These are haiku. Rising autumn moon, framed in pink evening clouds, could be anywhere. Full moon, early fall, jetliner caught in bright disk, just as I look up. New York autumn chill, air conditioners turn off, pipes and pumpkins on. Sitting on the deck, suddenly out of nowhere, the maple leaf rag. Fall graduation, black strap of evening gown, cuts springy white skin. And the final one, cold air, this one was published. Cold air, empty streets, geometry of dark stone, moon a mandala. And then this last poem was written recently, more recently. It's called Traps of Time. Caught as we are and neatly bound round in nervous little knots of time and circumstance, who can think long enough, far enough to try to untie the bonds which moor us world side, daily doings which undo and make us mockeries of men, marked as we are and sentenced to a common end, which every person, great or small, does their level best to stall. Should we look forward, better back, keep straight on, or leave the track? Hearken unto signs divine, try to have a high old time, or put it off, try to delay, and make the best of work and play. The latter course, it seems, is best if one but put it to the test. That's all, folks.
Thank you. It was lovely to hear some haiku as well. Yeah. Fabulous.
Yeah, it's,
I'm heading towards Karen. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, I got fresh ink tonight. This one made me happy because it came easy. I pulled a oracle card and I didn't ask a question. I was just shuffling the cards and then I was like, oh shoot, I didn't have anything in mind. And I just looked at the card and I was like, oh, here comes a poem. So it was delightful. I love when that happens. Okay, so this is Snow Falls on the Sleeping of Town. Snow falls on the sleeping of town, on the frosty of fields, on the fur of the young Auburn fox, whose attention is not on the weather, whose attention is predator honing in on its prey, breathing in any scent, sent up from the raw frozen earth, through the jagged teeth of the wicked brambles, which threaten to pierce any venture, to the twitching of a cold, wet, black nose. Snow falls on the sleeping of town, and a crow has paused. The brambles are a dark and wet tangle of thorns, blooming fields of startle, of five-petaled white blossoms, each with a dark green pentacle at its center, perhaps bearing berries, delectable seeds, exotic sustenance to fuel flight of some sort. Crow has paused at the edge of the blooming, has perched in a fallen down tumble of black branches, has become a still shadow in held breath. The only hint of his being here, his scent, sent downwind with the glint in his dark eyes, laser focused on held breath, on scent, on survival. Snow falls on the sleeping of town. Here's my card.
Oh, wow. Holy, that was amazing.
Aren't
And
those
it makes me
beautiful
wanna-
cards?
Yeah.
Yes, and I have to tell you how fortunate you are you drew that card and how fortunate we are you wrote a poem for it.
Oh, I'm fortunate I have a friend, Laura Younger, who gave me that stack of cards.
Oh, Laura, she is fabulous. Yeah, Regina wrote, I love the card and the poem. There's a few comments, Karen, so go to the chat section. You know, I have to say, I'm always amazed with our open mic where I just go, this is awesome. Marjorie, I'm coming to you, make you a spotlight.
Huh,
Go.
okay.
Hi.
I'm going to read one that just came out from the Journal of American Medical Association. And this is kind of based, oh, I've got a little dialogue box there, kind of based on a true story. I have been doing a lot of blood tests, and I'm sure many of you have been doing that as well at some point in your lives. And I noticed that the phlebotomist has huge tattoos, very intricate tattoos. And I thought, well, that kind of makes sense. You're not afraid of needles. And every time I go in, I typically have this one person, but the last time I saw several others phlebotomists who had these intricate tattoos. So this is called The Phlebotomist Shows You Her Tattoo. After she's sanitized, pricked on demand, suctioned your blood, the phlebotomist bares her arm voluntarily, brags a tattoo as bright as RBCs in the vacuum tube. She never faints, never flinches, never, you imagine, avoids eye contact when someone's inevitable news, the worst case scenario kind, pings on a screen or tumbles into voice messages without any specifics, Will you die? Will God care? And results arrive as notifications. Ask politely, pretty please, at your earliest convenience. Will you schedule an appointment with the doctor? Unavailable until 2025. Who will be happy to explain in detail the missing pieces of any and all diagnoses. No, this tattooed 20-something, without blinking a pore, rolls up her left sleeve just as you asked her to do, as she herself has been asked to do a dozen times at Funky Art, Kingdom of Ink, Black and Blue, Tattoo Nation. And the same phlebotomist who never faints, never flinches as you stare away from your post-punctured arm. This woman, the age of your daughter, automatically flexes her muscle, and the red sun on her decorated bicep pops up, just like that, as mercy, as hope.
Holy smokes.
And actually, when the journal wanted me to take out the specific names of the tattoo parlors, and I said no, because you can't just say, and this happened at a tattoo parlor. So I love those names.
No, they were fabulous, and I'm so glad you stuck with that, and I'm so glad that got published, because I just think that poem is powerful. Yeah, love the questioning. Results arrive as notifications, tumbles into voicemail. There's a few comments, Marjorie, in the chat
Thank
section,
you.
of course, but I think all of us were going, oh, wow.
Thanks.
And yes, not afraid of needles. Uh-huh. Beautiful. Thank you. Our last reader tonight is Regina. I'm coming to you. My friend who went to church and spoke at our church this past Sunday. Oh, there we go. I got you.
Yes, my internet is trying to show out, so I hope I make it through this. And yes, it was a wonderful time at the Unitarian Universalist. Might have that backwards. We had a wonderful time, and we got to explore the question, what is found in poetry? And I began with loosely, I guess, an Ars Poetica, but that wasn't the one I initially was going to read. I actually wrote a poem especially for that, but then I struggled and I chose the other one, but I get to share it here now. I get to talk about something that I know we all love, and that's poetry and the process of it and the act of writing. This is entitled, What I Have Found. What I have found in poetry is a power that would have me walk beyond borders, released by people and entities that feel I do.
Oh no, I think we might have lost you.
Those that say that my thoughts do not even deserve to be heard. Oh no. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I was going to say, Regina, go ahead and turn off your video and do audio only.
Okay.
And that might, and then start back. Actually, I kind of feel like
start
start back at the beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
And
All right.
Carrie, I am coming to you. That is entirely my mistake. Sometimes I do stuff like that. Yeah. So try that, Regina. Perfect.
Okay. Hopefully this works. What I have found in poetry is by people and entities that feel I do not belong, that insist that where I am going is not the place that I should be, those that say that my thoughts do not even deserve to be heard. Yes, I have found this and more at borders and doors that unceasingly strain to block my destiny, belittle my identity, not just my identity, but others like me, like we. Yet even in the pain of breaking of borders and barriers, I have found that I truly believe that God sent me poetry. Gave me a mama that gave me one book and then another, taught me to read it, told me to speak it, crawl inside of it, inhabit it, that it might inhabit me. And I did let it root and bloom in me, and in turn, it turned a key in my head that ultimately set me free. And I dwell within those courts, for they house my personal room of requirement, my sanctuary of liberty. I have kneeled pen in hand before blank scrolls. I have met God who has formed on pages and has heard my entreaty. Lord, give me incantations that comfort, create, cure, compel, speak life, light fires, cast down darkness, revive a necessary revolution, shout warning, light freedom trails, and inspire the birth of indomitable spirits. And God has heard me. God has given me poetry, righteous messages and prophecy. And in poetry and on these pages, I have found real, true God.
Holy. Yes, and that did work. And I'm so glad we did that so we could hear the flow was
Beautiful.
everything.
Thank you.
Holy smokes. Yeah. Regina, Karen wrote, Regina, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. But others like me, like we might inhabit me. Holy cow, every line. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's gorgeous. Please look at the, yeah. Cindy wrote, yes, thank God. And synagogue, yes. Took us to church and synagogue. Oh, y'all are fabulous. And thank you, Regina. I will pull the spotlight because I just realized I kept it on spotlight still because my brain wasn't back online. Carrie, please forgive me. I am, if you could see my handwriting, you'd be like, wow, how does she even read that? I do little lines and it goes down. I know, right? Coming to you, and I'm gonna make you the spotlight, Carrie. There we go.
Okay. I could do one poem. I could do two poems. They're both short, but I could just do one. What's it's up to you.
Two is fine for short
Okay,
poems. We'll
great,
be
great.
fine with that.
Awesome. I set up here. This first poem was published in Walt's Corner, which was edited by George Wallace. You guys might know him. And this is called Hazel. It is number 92 of Women's Name Central series. I like to write about women, so this is called Hazel. No one waits for the stoplights at this hour. The warm glow of illuminated windows spaced too far away from each other before dawn. And I never knew I would need you so much right before leaving. I am grieving of what might have been if I chose to stay. In possible situations, I'm attracted to them like flypaper. Taking the earliest flight of the day, I am out of sight till the next slow folds over, swallowing me up completely. I was never meant to stay in one place, but my heart could be forever yours after the sun folds into another dream universe. Okay, that's first poem. Hold on. Okay. I like watching movies. I don't know if you guys know the Before trilogy, like Before Sunrise and Before Sunset, Before Midnight. You need to check that out with Ethan Hawke and Julie Deppie. So I kind of mashed two of those things together in this poem. It's a short poem called Change of Light. I stopped by that place we met years ago for one night. I saw the steps and the cafe we used to sit at, passing the time until sunrise. But today's light made the sights look different. Alone, I remember your warm hands as I walked the cobble streets. Your emotional marble in your head was so big back then. What happened? It's now the year of the rat. You got another woman pregnant. You must marry her, even though she doesn't make your soul sing. The light has changed everything, but I still feel the same. A star lost in orbit, searching for a harbor even if love or the light disappears. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the light has changed everything, even though she doesn't make it. There's a couple of comments in the chat section,
Oh,
so
great, great, great.
make sure
I can
you
see
go
them.
there, Terry. Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Amy, that was just amazing. I really am still, I'm gonna have to think about how that synergy gets going and
Okay.
builds. It's such a, it baffles me and I'm gonna have to figure it out. I really liked how Nicole put a lot of it though, and you'll see that in the chat section because
Okay.
they had a
Yeah, I'm
succinct
sorry I
way
didn't
of,
have time to really
no,
go through it
there's
all.
no way. I mean, it's hard to multitask.
Nah.
Thank you guys for awesome questions and reading for open mic and being fabulous, good company as we celebrate Amy Barone's most recent book, Defying Extinction.
Thank you, Malika.
And now we know the story about the cover. I swear, Amy, we could just like ask you to tell us stories. I'm pretty sure I would be able to do an hour of that easily, and enjoy every minute of it.
I
guys.
probably.
I know I would. Be well.
Well, thank you. This is a wonderful series, and thank you for everyone who came
Yes,
out.
thanks, Malika.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. That's what y'all are what make it a good series.
Thank
No,
you.
it's-
It was so great.
Yeah.
No, it's a great
It's
format.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
I like the fact that we're able to just like kind of spend some time asking questions. I like the conversation.
Right.
And we've been very lucky that we've had people that are easy to talk to. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Every week where you just are like, this is somebody I want to just like sit down with for a while.
Yeah. It's like going to the best party and you don't wake up with a hangover the next day.
Sorry.
You don't,
Oh,
you don't
I'm
have to,
sitting here drinking my
Oh,
vodka.
Cindy. Cindy said, how do you know
I
how?
need to pour some wine
Oh,
now.
Cindy, you're coming back next week. We're keeping you every
Right.
Thursday.
and everybody gets to dance.
Yeah.
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 Look, so
You know,
instead of
poetry
open mic,
Dance.
that's right. Mark said he was
Do the
going
Philly
to do
dog.
the Philly dog dance. I did hear that. All right, guys, be well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.